Dear friends, today we will talk about the food of soul. Generally, we take meals, we take food because we want to survive. According to the modern society, a human being is identified with the body, this physical body. Generally, everybody, maximum number of persons, they identify themselves with their physical body. And if this physical body dies, they say that a person has died. And just for the survival of this physical body, we are taking meals, we are feeding it with whatever way we can. We try to feed it so that it may survive for a longer period and we may enjoy the worldly allurement for a longer period. But what is the Vedic view about the human body, about the human being? According to the Vedic philosophy, a human being is not just a physical body, this material body. A human being has three things in him. It's a combination of three things: mind, body, and soul. These are three things that makes a human being complete. This body, physical body, and the mind and the soul. These three things are there. So, if we want the overall development of a human being, overall perfect development of a human being, then we need to feed all these three organs: our body, our mind, and the soul. So then only the perfect survival of the human being will take place. If you are going to feed one organ, the other two will become weak. So those two weak organs, they will create problem with your body. So generally, we are ignorant of the whole system. That is why the Vedic seers, they have shown the right path. They have understood the whole nature in right earnest. And they say that a human being is not just this physical body, but a human being is a combination of three things: body, mind, and soul. So, about the human body, everybody knows this physical body. It's not difficult to understand it. This physical body contains the skin, the blood, and all these things. Five sense organs, five motor organs, all are there. These are visible things. But two other things, they are not visible. They are invisible. And more stellar than this physical body is the mind. Mind is called Indra. In Vedic technical terms, this mind is known as Indra, and these sense organs which are visible outside, they are known as Indriyas, five sense organs. So this mind, Indra, it contains so many things. Mind is a name of a group of many things When we call mind, it means manas, it means chitta, that means chitta, that means intelligence, buddhi and ahankara. So, chitta, buddhi and ahankara, all these things combinedly form the nature of mind. And soul is quite different from this system. Although the mind, every soul has one mind attached with it, and that is known as linga sharira, sukshma sharira, still body. So that is attached with the soul. But what is soul? Soul is called as Purusha. Purusha means, why it is called Purusha? Because Puri Shete, the etymology is there. Purush means Puri Shete. Puri means this house of this body. Shete means who lives, who sleeps. Soul sleeps in this Puri, in this house called body. So that is known as Purusha. So these three things, mind, body and soul, we must keep them pure, purify them, clean them and feed them. Then the actual survival of a human being will take place. So what is the food of body? We know. Body's food everybody knows, and body can be cleaned with waters. With the help of water you can take bath and it can be cleaned. But how to clean, and what is the food of mind and soul? Then this answer of this question cannot be given by any scientist or any scholar. Its answer can only be given by the seers, the rishis, maharshis or the Vedic seers. Let us go to a seer, and we have one seer, Manu. He is the first lawgiver to humankind. He is the first lawmaker of the humankind. Manu says, very beautifully he says, and his statement is priceless, I think, and that clarifies everything on this issue. He says, Adbhir gatrani shuddhanti, manah satyena shuddhati, vidya tapobhyam bhutatma, buddhir jnanena shuddhati. The great Manu says that this body can be cleaned with the help of waters. But manah satyena shuddhati, the food of the mind, this mind can be cleaned with the help of truth. What is truth? Insistence to know the true things, insistence to know the truth. And a person who is crazy to know the truth, such a person will have a strong mind. He will be able to feed his mind with the true things, with the true knowledge, with the truth and insistence. For truth, one is able to feed his mind. And along the mind, we have buddhi also. He says, Jnanera buddhir jnanena. The food of our intelligence is the knowledge. If you don't have any knowledge, your intelligence, your buddhi will become empty. So that will strive. That will become hungry because you are not going to feed the knowledge to buddhi. But what type of knowledge? What is the knowledge? There are two things, jnana and ajnana. In Vedic terms, technical terms, Vedic philosophical technical terms, jnana and ajnana. I can't translate jnana as knowledge or ajnana as ignorance. These are the technical terms. We must understand what these terms refer to. Jnana means the knowledge of the Brahman, that spiritual source from which the whole creation emanated. Just to know about that, just to have the knowledge of, information of that spiritual source, that is jnana. And ajnana means the knowledge of this material world, knowledge of the material world. So buddhira jnanena shuddhyati. The food of the buddhi is jnana, that spiritual knowledge. Self-realization, realization of a Brahman, attempts towards realizing the Brahman, that is the food of buddhi. And what is the food of soul? Very beautifully he says, Vidya tapobhyam bhutatmaha. Bhutatmaha, the soul of the creatures. Its food is vidya and tapaha. Vidya, again the same thing is there. Vidya. There are two things described in the Vedic philosophy. One is vidya, another is avidya, just like jnana and ajnana. Ignorance is not the absence of knowledge. Ajnana is not the absence of knowledge, but the information about this material world, that is known as ajnana, and the information about this material world is known as avidya. And information about the spiritual world, that is known as vidya. So the seer says, Vidya tapobhyam bhutatma. With the help of the knowledge of the spiritual world, and tapaha, generally people translate it as a penance. It's not like that. Tapa means yoga, do yoga, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. These four angas, these four limbs, they are coming in the shreni of tapaha. So, doing yoga, meditating upon Brahman, and vidya, vidya tapobhyam bhutatma. The soul, the food of the soul is vidya and tapaha. And in Shatpat Brahmana, one of the Brahmanas of the Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, it says, Mahat tapas tapati yo adhite. A person who pursues vidya, who pursues the study of spirituality, the Brahman, the spiritual element, content of this universe, kata mahat tapas tapati. He is doing great tapaha. He is doing great penance, just like a yogi does it. So vidya and tapaha, yoga, they are both known as tapaha. And with this tapaha, your soul, it gets the food. And if you want, give food to the soul. If you don't give food to your body will die. Similarly, if you are not going to feed your soul, what will happen? You are going to make your soul die. Or in another word, in technical word, philosophical term, the seer says you are committing suicide. Committing suicide, commission of suicide doesn't mean just kill the body. Commission of suicide means killing the soul. And how a person is going to commit suicide? One is not going to feed his soul with the knowledge of Brahman and the tapaha and the yoga, he is going to commit the suicide. And what is the consequence? When a person commits suicide, what will happen to him? Beautifully in Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasya Upanishad is the 40th chapter of the Shukla Yajurveda. Shukla Yajur, 40th chapter. Ishavasya Upanishad says, Asuryanam te lokaha andhena tamasavritah tanste pretya vigatsanti yeke cha atmano janaha. The seer says, there are worlds which are enveloped with darkness, and those worlds are known as Asura, Asura world, Asura loka. Those Asura lokas, they are enveloped with darkness. And the persons who commit suicide, ye ki cha atmahanu janaha, who are going to commit suicide, they will reach, they will attain in the next life those worlds. It's a very mysterious mantra. It cannot be understood in literal terms. Translating it literally, it makes no sense. What the seer intends to say, that must be understood by us. Atmahanu janaha means the person who are committing suicide, means those persons who are not getting vidya and who are not doing tapas for the elevation of their souls, just to attain divinehood, who are not committing these two things. What will happen? They will go to the Asura lokas. Asura lok, those lokas, they are enveloped with darkness. Sura, Sura means knowledge, the light of the knowledge. Where there is the light of knowledge, that is Sura lok. In physical sense also, the east direction is the Sura lok because the sun rises over there first, and the west direction is known as Asura lok. By the time the east is lighted up in light, the west is in darkness. But in a spiritual sense, Asura means where there is a light of knowledge, and darkness, the species or the worlds where there is no light of knowledge. So, which are the Asura lokas from the point of view of the spirituality, and which are the Sura lokas? Just to make it understand, we shall have to know the kosha system. 5 koshas are there. Sheath, people call it sheath, but I won't call it sheath. There are 5 koshas. And all these 5 koshas are in the body of a human being. But according to this kosha system, the entire creation, these creatures, living beings, they can be classified. First kosha start with the Annamaya Kosha. A soul that has become the dullest thing, which a person who has not attained any spiritual knowledge, who is always absorbed into the material things, he is born in the Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha, all these plants, vegetables, trees, they are the creation of the Annamaya Kosha. There, the soul is in a dormant state. You can't identify whether the soul is there in these or not. But little coming up, there is a Pranamaya Kosha. All small insects, germs and all these things, they are born at Pranamaya Kosha. After that, we have the Manomaya Kosha. Mind seed, we call it, when it is said that when the desire is connected, associates with the prana, the mind is formed. Vignamaya Kosha. All these big animals, these cows, horses, whatever, dogs, they are the creation of the level of Vignamaya Kosha. Means they have the desire. We can see them moving with some desire. And coming further up, we have the Vignamaya Kosha. A human being is the development of the Vignamaya Kosha. Vijnana means intelligence, intellectual power. Among all these creatures, living beings, human being is only the creature, living being, who has the intellectual power, who can think rationally, irrationally, whatever way. He has the intellectual power. So he is a species developed at the Vignamaya Kosha. And the final one, the highest one, that is known as Anandamaya Kosha, the level of bliss, that is known as a divinity. When a human being goes up with the knowledge of spirituality, spiritual practices and yoga, he comes to the level of divinity. He becomes a divine being. Means he is close to the God. He is close to the emancipation, moksha. And this bliss, the level of bliss, the Anandamaya Kosha, this is known as Swarga Loka. There is all bliss is there. Light of knowledge is there. Person becomes enlightened. But species lower to the human being. Human being is the normal, middle path. You are at this level. This is the human level. If you go lower, that is known as hell, naraka. Naraka means just to go down through your bad sanskaras of animals. You will be born to the lower level of species, that is known as a Naraka Loka. So the mantra of Ishavasyopanishad, it points out to this. It says, Asuryanam te lokaha. Those are the worlds which are enveloped with darkness. This Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha. These three worlds, the creatures of these three worlds, they are enveloped with the darkness of the knowledge. There is no knowledge. They are devoid of the knowledge. Andhena tamasa vritaha. Complete darkness is there. Complete ignorance is there. There is no knowledge. So he says a person who is going to commit suicide, he is going to be born in those lower species where there is no light of the knowledge. Asuryanam te loka andhena tamasa vritaha tanste pritya bhigatsanti yeke cha atmahanodana. So if you want that you should not commit any suicide, then feed your soul with the knowledge of spirituality, the Shastras, Vedas, the philosophy, Indian philosophy, not the Western philosophy. There is no philosophy in the West. They are the social scientists. They are talking about the social philosophy. There is a lot of difference between the darshan and the philosophy, what is known, what is called in the West. Doing social studies is not a philosophy. Philosophy is the higher level of studies. Just like a Ram and a Krishna, the great yogis, so that you may understand even your past lives. So that philosophy you will have to learn. You must spend some time doing yoga. Spend some time in the study of Shastras. Swadhyaya adhyetavya. That is why Upanishad says Swadhyayo adhyetavya. when a student goes to his house after graduation, after convocation ceremony, graduation ceremony, the teacher gives him a sermon. Never leave your studies. You will always spend some time in the study of spirituality, that higher knowledge. So I hope through this talk you must be able to understand the real interpretation of the Shastras. Instead of feeding yourself with more and more ignorance, ajnana and avidya, try to learn vidya and jnana also. That is the final, that is the ultimate goal of human being. Nor a human being is no better than an animal. Thank you.